Joining me now, Tennessee Congressman Steve Cohen, a Democratic member of the House Judiciary Committee, a good friend of this show. Thank you so much for joining us. Congressman, some of the bold foreign policy moves that this new analysis piece points to includes fresh sanctions on Iran, banning U.S. investments in Chinese companies with links to the People's Liberation Army, also his plans to withdraw 2,500 troops from Afghanistan and Iraq just a few days before Biden's inauguration. Is it your thought that decisions like these are being made in an attempt to literally tie President-elect Biden's hands?
Well, I think he wants to tie Joe Biden's hands. He wants to disrupt the opportunities to have a foreign policy that is consistent with American values and expresses what has not been what Trump has done. But I think what's even more serious about foreign policy, Alex, is what's gone on with Jared Kushner here in the last months of the administration, rushing off to Saudi Arabia and trying to put together a change in the situation with Iraq. We've had a blockade on Iraq and, not Iraq, but Qatar, a blockade on Qatar. And the ostensible reason is to have them fly over Saudi Arabia for air rights and not Iran and take $100 million from Iran. You know, it was Qatar that came to Jared Kushner's rescue when 666 Fifth Avenue was going under. They loaned him, $500 million to $1 billion to keep up what was a very bad investment. I suspect this is his last down payment on that loan. And many of the things they're doing is have their financial interest involved. There's nothing that Trump does that you can't go back and trace it back to the money. I think with Qatar and this deal now, Kushner is taking care of Qatar, and Qatar will take care of Kushner.
Something you've been sounding the alarm on is the prospect of President Trump receiving intelligence briefings once he's out of office. I want to play what you said last weekend. Here's a look at that, everyone.
He's careless and not concerned with the parameters of secure information and trying to keep it to the United States' benefit. So I think President Biden will not have a difficult decision. I think it will be a simple decision. His job is to protect the United States of America, and that would not be to share information that could put the United States in jeopardy.
Where does this stand right now? Do you have any indication that this is gaining traction, that he would not get intelligence briefings, or what do you think?
I suspect that Joe Biden is aware of the allegiances that Trump has and the liabilities he has personally and the danger he has. I can't imagine Joe Biden doing what's best for the American people and giving Trump intelligence briefings. You know, I've got a cat, Alex, and sometimes my cat goes out, and sometimes it brings a chipmunk back to my door, thinking it's bringing me a gift. Well, that's what Trump likes to do. And if he gets intelligence briefings, he will take it back to Putin, just like my cat brings me a chipmunk and a way of giving Putin a gift. And we can't give Trump chipmunks.
I have a cat. Fortunately, my cat does not ever bring me chipmunks. That having been said, my friend, let me ask about the op-ed that you wrote trying to put the brakes on Trump's pardon powers. How can Congress do that?
Well, we can only limit it. There's two ways. The self-pardon is questionably illegal because it's a grant, and you have to grant it to somebody. And there's a common law theory that you cannot be the judge of yourself. So if we can pass a law, and Jamie Raskin has drafted one that's part of the Democracy Act that Adam Schiff sponsors that says you can't give yourself a self-pardon. But that would be something probably determined in the courts. The other places we could do it is through a constitutional amendment. And I have H.J.R. 8, which would limit the president, say he couldn't pardon himself or herself, their families, people worked in the campaign at a paid capacity, and administer peace and
Congressman, I want to read part of what you wrote here, and that will help explain what you're doing. You write that the power was designed to provide the president with the ability to mitigate potentially excessive sentences or unjust legal outcomes. It is intended as a tool of mercy and justice. Trump has turned the pardon power on its head. Rather than a tool to better pursue justice, he is using it to circumvent justice. Is that a widely held opinion on Capitol Hill?
I think it is among Democrats and among Republicans of reason. I think they know that Trump is a narcissist. It's all about himself. Everything is about himself, and that he will use these pardons to further protect himself by giving pardons to people who have information on him. Like, he's not necessarily pardoning Flynn because he thinks it was an injustice or wrong. Flynn has information on him. He's protecting himself. And the same thing with Manafort, and the same thing with Gates, and the same thing with Roger Stone. With his family, that's in essence himself. And he's done it all totally different. Most of his pardons he's done, he did Milken, who has been a big contributor. He's given pardons. Just the few that he's given were because of Kim Kardashian, is the reason he gave a former constituent of mine, Miss Johnson, Alice Marie Johnson, a pardon, commutation, and later a pardon. But he did that because of Kim Kardashian. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people in prison for victimless crimes, drug crimes, that should be commuted, their sentences commuted, or they should be pardoned. Obama pardoned 50 through a system of merit and should have done many more. But that's what Trump should have done. I wrote him about that, too. But he has no interest in doing things on the basis of merit and fairness. It's all about celebrity and how it affects him. And he has pardoned. I mean, Carter saw a change in the country, and after the Vietnam War, he pardoned all the people who had draft avoidance in Canada and let them come back home. That was the kind of pardon that was envisioned, something for the group good. Eventually, pardons for anybody convicted of marijuana, I can see coming to place.
I'll tell you.
Passed the major act in Congress to finally decriminalize at the federal level marijuana, a long-standing misguided policy.
Indeed, that is underway. Congressman Steve Cohen, certainly a celebrity on my shows. And I got to tell you, good job putting in cats and chipmunks in this interview. I mean, only you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. You're right.